You have 30 minutes of free time to kill. You open an app to decompress, but before you know it, an hour vanishes and you feel noticeably more exhausted than when you started. For most of us, this is the default state of modern downtime. Whenever we hit a gap in our schedule or want to avoid a task that requires actual effort, we resort to passive scrolling. But think about the physical reality of that choice. Why does an activity that requires zero physical effort leave you feeling completely drained? Scrolling isn't resting your brain, it is actively depleting your mental battery. By choosing the easiest path for relaxation, we are effectively setting ourselves up for a total collapse in attention. You usually notice this collapse when you try to do things you actually enjoy. Over time, your attention span quietly atrophies until your favorite high commitment hobbies suddenly feel like insurmountable work. Take reading. People who could sit down as kids and devour 200 pages of a Harry Potter book in a single afternoon now find themselves struggling to get through 10 pages without checking their screens. Even activities designed entirely for entertainment suffer. Trying to get invested in a deep video game or focus on a single Netflix episode feels too demanding, so you reach for your phone for a quicker hit. Users across internet forums describe losing their capacity to engage with long-form storytelling entirely, unable to finish even a few chapters from iconic authors they grew up reading, like Stephen King. This widespread inability to focus on offline hobbies shows that the mental exhaustion from scrolling has real consequences. The drain is actively bleeding into and damaging your ability to live a balanced life. This happened because social media platforms shifted away from active communication with your friends. They move toward a model of passive observation, where algorithms feed you a relentless, never-ending stream of content. Modern apps are structured like digital slot machines, using a variable ratio of stimulating videos and uninteresting posts to keep you engaged. Dopamine triggers in anticipation of a reward, fueling the drive to keep swiping to see what the next swipe provides. Because the content is short and entirely random, your brain is forced to rapidly switch contexts every few seconds. You process vast amounts of disconnected information without actually retaining or understanding any of it. Algorithms are designed to withhold a natural endpoint. There is no chapter break or end of episode signal to tell your brain that you've reached a point of satisfaction. We are caught in a frictionless digital environment designed to bypass our intent and push our cognitive limits to the absolute breaking point. A study published in Psychological Reports investigated the mental health impacts of this digital exhaustion, mapping how it affects our well-being over time. The study finds that the scroll sets off a biological chain reaction. Stage 1 is cognitive fatigue. The endless scroll drains mental energy and fries working memory, the system used to process information. Over time, this microscopic fatigue compounds into burnout. That constant drain makes basic daily tasks and offline activities feel physically impossible to start. When you try to put the phone down, you experience the withdrawal of the dopamine loop. That chemical drop, combined with guilt, spikes stress and anxiety. Remaining trapped in this inescapable cycle of fatigue, burnout, and anxiety ultimately culminates in depressive symptoms. The term brainrot describes more than a trend, it is a clinically predictable path from a digital habit to a psychological crisis. The research suggests that we are witnessing a measurable decline in cognitive endurance. This is the result of a structural shift in how we process information on a daily basis. We often trick ourselves into thinking that scrolling is a form of decompression. In reality, we are subjecting our brains to an exhausting, low-grade strain that prevents actual recovery. Recognizing this exhaustion as a consequence of how these apps are built, rather than a personal moral failure, is the first step towards reversing it. To break this cascade, you have to intentionally reintroduce friction back into your digital routine. Users who have successfully recovered their attention report taking physical steps to bypass the algorithm, such as leaving the phone in another room during meetings or banning it from the bedroom entirely. Recovery requires switching back to physically bounded media that possess natural hard stops. Reading an article in a print magazine like The Atlantic forces your brain to engage with a single, long-form idea until it is actually finished. Surviving the algorithmic era requires an active, daily commitment. By teaching your brain how to focus on difficult tasks again, you can take your mental energy back from the infinite scroll.